Imagine this. You've spent your entire life listening to the vast, empty silence of space, and then one day, you hear a knock. Not from next door, but from a star 26 light-years away. Today, we're jumping into the heart of Carl Sagan's incredible novel, Contact, a story that's all about science, hope, and what happens when humanity gets its first phone call from the universe.
The story kicks off with this amazing sense of wonder. This is the feeling that just lives inside our hero, the feeling that you're a small part of something unbelievably huge, and you just have to understand it.
So, who is this hero? Well, her name is Eleanor Arroway, or Ellie for short, and her journey is really the soul of this whole thing. See, from a super young age, she wasn't just looking at the world around her, she was trying to decode it.
It all starts with a simple kid's question. She's staring at this old radio, and to her, it's not just a box that makes noise. It's pure magic. How does a whole orchestra get squeezed through the air and into that little box? It's that drive, that need to understand the invisible things that really sets her on her path.
And this curiosity, it only gets stronger in school. Her teacher tells the class that the number pi, a fundamental piece of the universe, just goes on forever, never repeating. A fact most of us would just, write down and accept.
But not Ellie. She doesn't just accept it. She puts her hand up and asks, "But how do you know?" And that's not her being difficult. That's the moment a scientist is born. She won't take your word for it. She needs to see the proof.
For her, the universe wasn't some boring textbook you had to memorize. Nope, it was the ultimate puzzle box, just an infinite number of questions. And she decided she was going to solve the biggest one of them all.
So where does that quest take her? Right here, to these giant metal ears pointed at the sky, at Project Argus. This is where she spends years of her life just listening to the static, asking that one huge question over and over again. Is anybody out there? And we should probably mention this whole story comes from the mind of Carl Sagan himself, an actual brilliant astronomer. So you can bet that every single step of this journey is packed with real, mind-blowing science.
Now, what's really fascinating is that she's caught in this huge professional battle. On one side, she's got her mentor, Peter Valerian, the ultimate optimist. He's totally convinced that contact is inevitable. But on the other side is David Drumlin, the ultimate skeptic, who thinks the whole search is a career-ending fantasy. And poor Ellie is stuck right in the middle of it all.
In this quote they have on the wall, wow, it just perfectly captures the pressure of the search. For years, all they hear is static, nothing. That silence isn't just an absence of sound, it's heavy. It's this deafening, crushing quiet that makes you start to question everything. But then, after all those years of listening to absolute nothing, the silence breaks. Just try to put yourself in her shoes. 4 years of your life, 131 giant telescopes, constantly fighting for funding, battling all the skeptics. You are probably right on the verge of giving up. And then, you hear it. It's a signal, and it's coming from the direction of the star Vega. Right away, it is crystal clear that this is not natural. This isn't static, it's structured, it's artificial, it is intelligent.
So, what are they hearing exactly? It comes in bursts. First, 2 pulses. Pause. Then 3 pulses. Pause. Then 5 pulses. Then 7, 11, 13. Are you picking up on the pattern here?
They're prime numbers, numbers that can only be divided by 1 and themselves. And here's the absolute kicker. As far as we know, there is nothing in nature that just spits out a string of prime numbers like that. This is it. This isn't a maybe. It's a mathematical certainty. It is a knock on the door from an intelligence that speaks the universal language of math. But okay, so the prime numbers are just the start. Think of them like the envelope. The real question is, what's inside the letter? Because it turns out this mathematical hello is hiding something much, much bigger. So to figure this out, we actually have to go back in time, all the way back to 1936, when humanity sent out one of its first powerful TV signals for the Berlin Olympics. That signal shot out into space, traveled for 26 years, and zipped right past the star Vega. And then, 26 years after that, it came back.
And this is just a shocking moment. The very first image humanity decodes from an alien civilization is our own. Specifically, it's a broadcast of Adolf Hitler. I mean, can you imagine? Our first interstellar postcard, and it's one of the darkest moments from our own history?
So the immediate question is, why? Why would they amplify and send back
this specific, haunting image. Is it some kind of warning? A threat? What is going on?
The answer is actually just brilliant. They sent it back as proof of receipt. It was their way of saying, "Yoo-hoo, we heard your tiny little broadcast from all those years ago. We are real." It was just a carrier wave, a way to get humanity's attention and get us ready for the real message that was buried even deeper inside the signal. Of course, a discovery this massive can't stay in a lab for long. The second the news breaks, everything on planet Earth changes. Forever.
And it is total chaos. You've got worldwide celebrations, but also this deep, gut-wrenching fear. Governments, led by people like National Security Advisor Michael Kitts, immediately try to classify the whole thing, to control it, but Ellie fights back tooth and nail, arguing that a message from the stars doesn't belong to any one country. It belongs to all of us.
And this is where Carl Sagan works in such an elegant, beautiful piece of science. The signal is streaming in constantly, but because the Earth rotates, Vega eventually sets below the horizon for any one observatory, so no single country can see it all the time. The only way to capture the whole message is for every observatory on Earth to work together, passing the signal off like a baton. The science itself forces them to become a team.
So in the end, Contact isn't just a story about finding aliens. It's really a story about us. It's a thought experiment that holds up a mirror and asks one simple, profound question. If we finally got that call, how would we choose to answer it? Because the message from the stars, as Sagan shows us, ultimately reveals a lot less about them and absolutely everything about us.